All right, folks, today we are going to unleash the power of lean manufacturing, specifically with a tool that I love, Poka Yoke. Okay, Poka Yoke. Today's objective, we're going to go through a few different things together. First of all, we would need to define what Poka Yoke is. We're going to demonstrate Poka Yoke, and I have brought out my coffee pot so that we can do this together. And then lastly, you have a homework assignment today. I'm Professor Chuck. It wouldn't do good if I didn't have a homework assignment for you, so we're going to add that in today. Okay, so let's define it. Defining Poka Yoke. So I have a video that I put out why there's so many Japanese terms in lean manufacturing. Poka Yoke happens to be one, right? In terms of the word itself, we have two Japanese words, yokeru and poka. We have yokeru being avoid, and then poka being mistakes. So avoiding mistakes or mistake proofing, that is the concept here. Engineering in methodologies to take mistakes out, that's the concept of Poka Yoke. Now, I do have a disclaimer here. For myself personally, avoiding mistakes or mistake proofing kind of gives the implication that we can take away the ability for anyone to make a mistake. Here's the people factor that always surprises me. No matter how well you engineer a standard in terms of taking and making it hard to make mistakes, people are very creative and come up with ways to get around that and still make mistakes. So we're gonna make it more difficult for them to make mistakes with Poka Yoke. All right, so the next step is we're gonna demonstrate Poka Yoke using my office coffee pot. So this is just a standard coffee pot. I wanna describe to you first the process of making coffee super quick, and then kind of dig into all the ways that this could potentially go wrong. And then of course, how is it Poka Yoke to make it harder for it to go wrong? In the quality world, right? American Society for Quality, other folks on the quality side, when we start talking about way things can go wrong, the term is FMEA, failure mode effects analysis. We're on the failure mode side, looking at all the ways something can fail, but we gotta start with the general process first. You need water that gets heated up. That hot water filters through coffee, right? Coffee beans, ground coffee. The hot water, the ground coffee, you get the delicious morning juice down here in the bottom, and you get to get your day started. Basic, simple process, right? But some complications might happen along the way. So number one, let's talk about 4 different ways that this can go wrong. And all of these that can go wrong, they're safety and sanitation related. People can get hurt if some of these things happen, like hot water hitting somebody, hot water spilling onto the floor. That could be a safety concern. Sanitation, again, that water spilling, getting into other areas where it shouldn't be, that's a sanitation concern. So the categories we're talking about here fall into those 2 components. Let's talk about the first one. We're gonna fill up the container with water. So one of the first ways it can go wrong is if I overfill this container. So overfilling the container of water, it's spilling everywhere. Right, following the manufacturer's instructions will help me avoid that. Manufacturer's instructions say, fill up this pot first to fill up the reservoir for the coffee pot. So I'll do that now. And I have a 14-cup pot filling up a 14-cup reservoir. I cannot overfill this if I follow the manufacturer's instructions and fill this container. I can't put more than 14 cups in here, which means I wouldn't be able to put more than 14 cups here. It's been Poka Yoke if I follow the process, but people are creative. What if I use this container to fill up my pot? This one has more capacity. Now I can overfill that pot. So you kind of get the idea there. All right, so let's put this back into play here. This has been Poka Yoke. There's a couple other things happening. So that water is going to heat up. In fact, let me turn it on. While it's heating up, I want to talk about that next step. The water is going to heat up, and it's actually going to come up a valve right through here, and it's going to steam out and come down through my coffee grains. Well, what happens if I have this lid open? And just like this, if that water starts to heat up, will it shoot out and spit out here? The answer to this is no. It has been engineered so that is not possible here. There's actually a hinge mechanism in the middle that engages only when the lid is properly shut so that the water will flow through and come down into the pot. But when this is open, it disengages that particular flow of water, so the water actually just recycles back down into the front, or excuse me, the back part of the coffee pot. You can see it's starting to brew now, which is fantastic. Okay, third, if I am or you are anxious to get that delicious morning juice in the morning here, right? Some of us might be impatient. And we have a couple of things working together for this next part. I'm going to take out my parts here so you can see some of the engineering. All right, very simple component here, but we have a mechanism on the bottom. It's spring-loaded. Right? I'm not sure if you can see that, but trust me, it's spring-loaded. It's a round component that's spring-loaded. And the reason it's spring-loaded is so that it will engage here. As I put my pot in, it actually will release that spring, water can flow through. But as soon as I pull that pot out, that spring engages and now water will not flow, or in this case, hot coffee will not flow onto my floor. Let's put that back together. All right, we've got our parts here. So one other element that's Poka Yoke. May not recognize this, but I've turned my coffee pot on. It's going to brew that coffee. It's gonna fill up and warm in here. This one has a 2-hour timer associated with it. So if I forget that I left the coffee pot on, and you've been there, right? That smell of burnt coffee, it's nasty, it's a sanitation issue. This is designed so that even if I forget, it will turn itself off automatically after 2 hours. I have demonstrated 4 different ways that this particular coffee pot has been poka yoke to make it harder to make a mistake. But here's the challenge. Number 1, if you think of other ways a coffee pot has been poka yoked, put it in the comments down below. Let's get a discussion started. But beyond that, I want you to go out into the world, go observe whatever you have. It's your car, your cell phone, your computer, right? Your door for your house, your door for your workplace. Wherever you experience something that has been engineered to make it harder to make a mistake, I want you to be aware of it, come back and make a comment down below so we can get familiar with all the different ways that our world has been poka yoked. Why do I want this awareness? So the awareness is the start of unleashing the power of this particular tool, right? Unleashing poka yoke so that you can now take control of it and go improve those processes at work, at home, in your community. Let's do this together, one step at a time.